Hey guys, it's Chris at Highline Guitars. You're watching another one of my YouTube guitar building videos. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope that by the end of this video, I'll have earned your subscription. And to everyone who's watching, if you enjoy this video or get something out of it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That helps me, and it doesn't cost you any money to do it. No one's going to track you or anything like that. It's a great way to tell YouTube that you enjoyed the video, and then YouTube will promote the video to others with similar interests. Also, if you really like this video, consider visiting my eGuitar Plans web store. There's a link in the description below, or you can visit my Highline Guitars merch store, which is displayed below the description. And in either one of those places, you can make purchases that will help support this channel, plus you're getting something in return. Oh, and don't forget, you can also click the thanks button down below and leave a tip in the amount that you like. What I'm going to talk about today is the cost of the materials that we use for building guitars. Now, when I say materials, I'm not talking about items like bridges and pickups and tuners and fret wire and stuff like that. I'm talking more about the consumable items, the wood, material we use for inlays, that sort of thing. And one of the problems that folks will face when they decide to build a guitar is selecting the wood and the materials that they're going to use to build that guitar. And the whole DIY movement has grown in recent years because we can now purchase a lot of this material as well as specialized tools on the internet. And the problem with that is there's a couple of things. First of all, you can't actually see the items you're buying before you buy them. Now with tools, that's one thing, but with materials, it's a whole different ballgame because really you need to see the wood that you're going to use before you purchase it. You never know if it's going to have issues such as cracks or knot holes or things like that. And it's very easy for an online seller to conceal that so that you don't know it's there. But another problem that occurs with internet sales is that a lot of these retailers like to market the materials specific to their end use. So you'll see a lot of things like luthier grade. And whenever somebody attaches the term luthier to a material, they're going to jack up the price because they know they can probably sell it for a higher price than if it was just presented as lumber. And another issue that comes up, I notice a lot, and this has gone on for so many years, and I think it's probably never going to go away, but the more we are educated, the better it's going to be. And that is this whole idea of grading figured wood. You see wood that's graded as 3A or 4A or 5A. I've even seen them use terms like master grade or museum grade. In truth, there is no grading system. There never has been. There is no reliable way to measure and grade a specific piece of wood. It's not like there's some kind of committee somewhere out there that has established rules for how you grade wood. It just doesn't exist. It's whatever you want to call it. So one man's 5A may be another man's 3A. That's why it's so important to be able to see the wood in person before you purchase it, because then you can grade it yourself in your own mind. And it's usually going to be acceptable or unacceptable. And for that reason, I think it's best to purchase most of your materials locally. And I know that's not always possible for everybody because not everybody has lumber suppliers in their neighborhood that they can go shop at. I'm really lucky where I live here in the Denver metro area, and that I've got 5 different lumber suppliers that I can visit. A lot of times I'll jump in my car and do a little circuit around to all these different lumber suppliers to see what wood they have. And I always find what I need. And that gives me the chance to look at the wood. I can even bring my moisture meter to check its moisture content. Although here in the Denver metro area, I almost never find wood that's over 10% moisture content. But depending on where you live, that may be something that's important for you to do. And the one thing you don't want to do is to purchase a piece of wood online, have it shipped to you, and find out that it's 25 to 30% moisture content, because you can't use it until it gets much drier. And in most cases, you're not going to know what that moisture content is. Even if you ask the supplier, they're not going to be able to tell you. So I think it's much better to try to purchase your materials locally. You're going to save money because they usually don't market the wood specifically for luthiers. They don't call it master grade, or they don't grade the figure in the wood. In fact, a while back I was visiting one of my lumber suppliers, and they had this gorgeous piece of flamed maple. It was a huge board. And I thought, wow, they could probably sell this for 5 times what they're asking if they called it luthier grade or 5A or whatever, master museum grade wood. But they didn't. So I purchased the wood, and when I took it up to the counter to pay for it, I told the guy at the counter, I said, you know, if you guys marketed this stuff as 5A or luthier grade or whatever, you could probably ask 5 times the price. And he just looked at me and he said, doesn't matter to me. We're selling it for $8 a board foot, and we're going to make a nice profit, so we really don't care. And I thought that was really astonishing, and what I considered was to buy more of that wood. And since I have a bandsaw and the capability, I was going to just process it myself and then sell it on eBay as 5A master grade luthier wood, and maybe get 5 to 10 times what I paid for it. But that's not a path I really want to go down. I don't want to be a lumber supplier because I'm really not equipped for that, nor am I equipped to deal with the potential situations that can occur when customers maybe aren't quite satisfied with what they get after they purchase it. So I decided not to go that route. But that illustrates kind of why it's a good idea to try to purchase your wood locally. Now, in some cases, you're not going to be able to do that, obviously, because you don't have a lumber supplier locally to where you live, and you're not going to have any choice but to purchase online. But if you really do some searching, you're going to find some suppliers out there. And I really don't want to offer any recommendations on suppliers. I've used a few myself, but I find that they tend to come and go, and they get bought and they change their names. And so I haven't purchased online in so long that I'm not even sure if any of them are still out there. But look for suppliers who are just selling lumber. Don't look for anybody who specializes in luthier grade or master grade or 5A or any of that, unless you're willing to pay that higher price. Now, there is a benefit to paying the higher price in that you often get wood that's been processed to a higher degree, but you're also likely going to be assured of better quality. Whereas when you're buying just lumber, you really don't know what you're getting until you get it. But if you are purchasing a luthier grade or master grade or whatever, just make sure that the photos that you use to judge the wood are good quality, and make sure that maybe they have a return policy or something like that, or you can always, in the end, if you don't like the wood, you can resell it yourself to try to recoup some of your losses, or you can just go with what you get. I find that is often the case when you purchase wood online, is you just have to accept what you're going to get. So you're going to have to decide for yourself whether that extra price is worth it. For some it is, for others it's not. For me it never was, and that's why I just switched to purchasing all my wood locally, and I'm able to do that where I live, so that's not an issue. Now, another type of material that can certainly benefit from careful selection when it comes to purchasing it is the material that we use for inlay. Now, I've used a lot of different types of inlay material over the years. I've used epoxy resins, glow-in-the-dark resins. I've used cast acrylic, aluminum, the obvious, the mother of pearl, abalone, all that kind of stuff. And there's nothing beats a beautiful piece of abalone shell. The problem is for some of these types of materials, they can get extremely expensive because they're processed and ready to use. And that's where the cost is. The cost isn't necessarily in the, for example, abalone itself. It's the cost of processing it that makes it so expensive. So if you can process it yourself, you can buy the raw shells like I have here, cut them up, flatten them out, and get them ready for use as inlay. And you can do that yourself. However, if you can't, then you're going to have no choice. If you want to use a shell type material, you're going to have to purchase it already processed. But when you buy it like this, a shell like this, which is 5 inches, this costs $7 individually. You can buy them in bulk for much cheaper prices, and you can also buy damaged ones if you're willing to go that route for even cheaper than that. So if you're going to be processing a lot of shell material, you can contact dealers that specialize in just raw abalone shells and get it for a pretty good price. Same thing with, these are marker dots that are made out of turquoise. So yeah, I get this for fairly reasonable price. One of the things that you can do to purchase stuff like this is, depending on where you live, there are a lot of gem and mineral shows that tour the country. And they have one here in Denver. I was just at this past weekend, which was a week-long event, and it's absolutely massive, huge. The number of vendors is just, it's crazy. You can literally walk through the entire thing and it will take you all day, non-stop walking. I don't mean stopping to browse, I mean walking through the whole thing. It's so huge. And that's where I got these shells from. You can get a lot of stuff really cheap, and you can get great ideas for materials that you can use in building your guitars. You can get bone, you can get the shell materials, stone, all sorts of different things. And then you can, come up with ideas as you're walking through for a lot of these materials. And these shows typically, like I said, they tour the country. I can't really speak to Europe or Asia or anything like that, although I would imagine it's probably not much different. But they're geared more towards wholesale dealings. So you can go in and buy an individual shell like this, or if you're a wholesaler, you can save even more money buying stuff in bulk, as long as you've got a wholesale license. But it's a great way to get a lot of good materials. You see it, you can hold it, the prices are really cheap, and always go on the last day of the show, towards the end of the show. Guys are packing up and they're getting ready to ship to the next show. They have to pay per pallet. So if they can reduce the number of pallets and lighten their load, it gets cheaper. So you can oftentimes score some pretty good deals. And that's true also with materials for like the wood that we use for building guitars. There are oftentimes a lot of woodworking shows where you can purchase the materials as well as tools and save some real significant money. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about in today's episode. I know it kind of rambled on. That's what I like to do. So that's always the way it's going to be. At any rate, I hope you got something out of this video. Either way, you can show some support by visiting my eGuitar Plans or my Highlines Guitars merch store, or you can leave a tip, or you can just do a simple thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. At any rate, until the next episode, as always, take care, stay safe, and I hope you'll be back.